Okay.
All right, so James was about to light a candle, and that is just a whole fun can of worms that we could open up. And I want to know, James, what aroma are we getting today? What's the candle scent?
In my office, I tend to like the kind of sage, tobacco. I don't know what it is about those smells, but the kind of bright, light, summery ones just don't work when I'm recording. And then also around Christmas, obviously the apple, cinnamon, all that. So for some reason, those smells talk to me.
That sounds really nice. And then that's a really nice segue into one of your fascinations, one of your joys, which is fire. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So for the longest time, and it's funny because we'll talk about it, I remembered that something had happened significant when I was very, very young. But as far as I can remember, I've loved bonfires. In England, it's very wet and cold, so we would have a fire quite a lot. We had a big old woodshed, and I would just sit by the fire and stare at the flame, but not in a pyromaniac kind of a way or an arsonist. Just I love everything about it, the light and the heat and the smell. Even now, my wife makes fun of me because I'll smell fire and I'll be like, yeah, that's a wildfire, or that's a car fire, which doesn't smell good at all. So yeah, and I've always loved that. But I live in Florida now, so sadly we don't get to have fire very often because it's just so hot and humid already.
I'm glad you have your candle.
Yeah, exactly. So I got my little fire in the corner with a couple of Buddhas.
Have you watched Game of Thrones?
I'm aware of it. I've watched a few seasons. I've never really been able to dive into the fantasy. I love the Lord of the Rings series, but I did watch it. But I think I made it through 2/3 of a season, the first season, and then I was just I didn't get grabbed like so many people do.
The reason I bring it up is not because of the gore. That stuff I always fast forward through or look down. I can't handle that very well, but there is something about those interior scenes when you can feel that they're warm and cozy, and a lot of times a fire is going in the background. So I'm wondering if there is that, in addition to the magical quality of the flame, if there is a comfort and a coziness that's included in that feeling about it.
The room that we had so our house was old farmhouse. Parts of it dated back 1600s, I think it was 1600s at least. And so it was very big, very, I guess, pretty damp, very cold. And so the living room, so you had two places. You had the kitchen, which had an Argo, which is an oil stove that's constantly burning. It's the old-fashioned one. We lift the top, and it was amazing. Actually, my dad is a vet, and we would have lambs that were born in the cold, and we would actually bring them in and put them either by the stove or warm them up, and then put them in the plate warming one, so it's not very warm. So that warmth, again, that room was always a nucleus of the house, but the second one was the living room, and again, because of the fire, and I think it's one of the only rooms that had carpet on the ground floor as well. So it was definitely that coziness.
That's really nice. And then have you done any past life exploration yet? Just in general?
Not in general, no. Only through, I'd say the word dreams, but the nightmares that I had when I was younger, that if that was a glimpse into previous life, but nothing deliberate as an adult, no.
Okay, I'm going to start taking some notes, and we will explore anything that you want to. So if I'm writing anything down and you're like, I don't need to know about the fire stuff, I'm good, just tell me and I'll strike through it. But
No,
it is very interesting.
we'll go wherever we need to go.
Okay, so the fire and the smoke. And then do you want to talk about the dreams that you used to have?
Yeah, absolutely. So I wrote a book 3 years ago, and when I was writing it, I kind of had this. Oh, you got it. There we go.
Yeah, I did a little bit of homework.
Well, thank you first.
It's
And
good,
so
by the way.
thank you. So as you read at the beginning, when I was 4 years old, I was trapped in a house fire with my sister and my younger brother. And pretty interesting story, because initially my sister couldn't get the door open. She ended up running upstairs, making an old-fashioned phone call to our mother, came back down, and funny enough, she's always been quite strong. She had horses most of her childhood, so she could out arm wrestle most of the kids at school. So she just gave it more the second time and managed to get the door open, whether she wasn't turning it enough. But anyway, so we all got out, you know, covered in soot. So as a firefighter now, when I look back, it was close. I mean, you know, we probably would have been killed if we'd been stuck in there another minute or two. And so when we're talking about the fire, when you and I spoke before, I have this love of fire. So when in this world of, you know, psychology that I found myself as well, it didn't push me away from it. It drew me to it, which is an interesting thing in itself. But I used to have horrendous night terrors when I was a kid. Now, this house was 3 stories. I was in the attic. Very creepy. If ghosts do exist, there was certainly lots of them in there, because my friends hated going there too and staying the night.
And this is
But
where you
yes, yeah. So yeah, but I would wake up screaming. The eaves, both, I was in 2 bedrooms ultimately on 2 sides of the same attic, and I would wake up covered in plaster because I'd been punching the kind of the roof basically, that was above me. One time my parents came in and I was halfway out of the window and it was 3rd story, and actually where that window was, there was a drop and a brick wall too. So yeah, you probably wouldn't have been a very, very pleasant fall. And then so I used to see a few things. There was a reoccurring dream about the classic movie monsters, and I think it was Mrs. You know, the female Dracula that would get one of those cheese wires, and every time she'd go to garrot me, I'd wake up.
what does garrot mean?
Like choke with a wire.
Okay.
Yeah. So they almost like kind of cut your head off kind of thing. And then there was one, and I've Googled it, and I found the book, but there's a kind of Victorian era Edward Scissorhands. It's a German book originally, and he has these crazy big like ginger hair and these horrible fingernails, and that will be another reoccurring one. In for some reason my parents' bedroom, and he'd be trying to get me there. And
Wait,
then
okay, so the night terrors were actually specifically located where it would be the female vampire
yeah, it
in
should
the
be
attic, and then
in
your parents' room, the redhead?
yeah,
Like
no, so these, I would be asleep in my room, but the female vampire would be in what they called the snuggery, which ironically had another of those stoves that kept that side of the house warm. It was always in that. It was the same place, same dream over and over and over again. That was downstairs. So then I'm dreaming that I'm in my parents' room. I'm not actually in my parents' room, where that one was. And then in my room, there would be a guy, and this happened a few times. It wasn't as reoccurring, but it was almost like a 1940s gangster with the trilby and the long trench coat, and he would pull out a gun and shoot me. Everything would go white, and it was like you pulled the plug out of an old record player. So it went. So these were some of the fantastic dreams that I enjoyed as a young boy. And as I spoke to you before, I used to wet the bed a lot, all the way through till very, very, what they call tweens now, pretty much, all the way through like 12, even, I don't know if it was 13 or not, but to a point where you shouldn't be doing it for several years by that point. So now when I look back, I'm like, okay, I loved fire, but obviously there were, whether it was specifically from that event or other things that I don't remember, but there was definitely some trauma that little boy needed to deal with. So
okay, and just so I understand fully, in case it comes up in the session, we have the female vampire with the wire thing. We have the 1940s gangster with the gun and things go white. Is the redhead with the nails a character from a book, or is this also a character that comes in to some of the dreams?
He's a character in the book that is it reoccurring in this this nightmare as well. So
there
yeah,
are 3 antagonists.
Yes, yeah, 3 very, very specific ones that used to come over and over and over again. So
did they ever come at the same time, or they were always specifically located in certain parts of the house?
Each dream was compartmentalized. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you. Do you want me to tell you a potential spoiler alert about the fire from when you were little, or no, it's for later? Okay. One thing that's really interesting about I don't know if you believe in all of this, but I believe in reincarnation, and that we have a lot of different lessons that we want to learn, experiences that we want to have, people that souls that we want to get to spend time with. And one of the things that I've learned, which is really interesting, is that sometimes if we had a traumatic death in a past life, what we'll do is experience a version of that in the current life where we survive and everything is fine. And there's something that can be very freeing about going, oh, okay, there was a fire. It was a close call. I survived. I don't have to be afraid of that anymore. So I do wonder if that's part of what was going on when you were little. It's really interesting. So we'll see.
Interesting. Yeah.
And then do you use your siblings' real first names in the book?
I do, yes. Not
okay.
The only ones I protected, I think, were I think I might change my crew names if I didn't know. I hadn't talked to them and said, I'm writing this book, are you okay with it? And then the descriptions and victims are the ones I changed. But yeah, my siblings, I think, are all the real names.
Brother starts with T, sister starts with A?
Yes.
Okay, all right, just making sure. And I wish I was a fast enough reader to have read the entire book. I did not. But I read the story from when you were little. And I also read the very end, and I read the introduction, or the foreword, which was really nice as well.
Yeah, so, Josh Brolin.
Yeah. I love the part where and you're right, he is a good writer. I love the part where he mentioned that when he talks to you, his day feels better, which is a gift to help people feel better just by conversation. So
yeah, and the feeling's mutual. I mean, that's the thing, is some of these people are very wealthy, very well known, whatever it is, but they're just human beings. So
they like nice people too.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And then for those who are watching and don't know the backstory, but by the way, I hope that everybody gets a copy of this because it is very well written and enjoyable and informative. So I hope that they read it. But you kind of glossed over that moment where Anna, your sister, she can't get the door open at first, and she's only 8 years old. And so the idea that an 8-year-old is physically prying open a door that is meant to be there for security, right? In theory, burglars are not supposed to be able to handle this, but you've got an 8-year-old that manhandles the door open. That, I just want to say, Anna, wherever you are, impressive, very impressive.
Yeah, she might watch this actually, because she's into a lot of the self-help stuff and healing. So when we get the link, I'll send it to her, and she can hear that.
Well, okay, I'm just revealing all of the spoilers. One thing that I've noticed that's a really interesting pattern is, and actually it was a little girl on the other side, a 16-year-old who passed, who taught me this. If the letters A-N are in a name, there's a really high chance that they're from the angel realm, which is very interesting. So of course she's got that, very pronounced in her name. So just a nice little compliment for Anna. No pressure, Anna, you might be from the angel realm. Okay, so I want to make sure that we also talk about any important people in your life that might come up during the session today. So we know that your sister, your brother, they might come up. Do you think your parents or maybe your grandfather features very prominently in that story as well?
Yeah, I mean, I adore my whole family. My grandmother just passed away the very beginning of October last year, but she was almost 105. She was 4 weeks from being 105. My grandfather, who I talk about, he died at 99, but the irony was he was still so young physiologically that he got cancer, and that was actually what killed him, which is rare in the elderly, but it spread so quickly because of his health. But yeah, my parents, my siblings, obviously, my wife and children as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm surrounded by beautiful people.
All right, so I know Becky and Ethan, and is it pronounced Ty?
Ty, yep.
Okay, excellent. And then what's also interesting is when we were chatting a few days ago, you brought up Bruce Lee, and then on the about page of your website, you quote Bruce Lee, and I'm like, all right, we're going to talk about this because it clearly comes up a lot for you, which I think is really interesting. What is the connection there that you know about so far?
I mean, really, it was me being a very meek, smaller boy and a farm boy. So I didn't grow up, with other kids. I mean, I did at school, but not a lot to kind of interact like you would if you grew up on a street, for example. But I had one of 5 kids, so obviously had that. But when I look back now, it was silly because I was doing all this manual labor. I was probably a lot stronger than I thought I was, but I felt so small. And I was really scared of the whole fighting thing too. And again, I'm wrangling sheep and horses and everything, and I'm worried about, people throwing punches at me, but I was. And so I got into the martial arts. And when I did, had this amazing awakening that, oh, if I practice and work hard, I can actually get quite good at this. And so that was it. And then I really got deep into the martial arts films, Bruce Lee's books I used to read. I even had a Wing Chun dummy, which is the big wooden like tree trunk with the wooden pieces coming out, and you do all the moves on them. Never learned how to do the moves, just own the dummy. But then I'd even go to Bruce Lee conferences or conventions. So I'd go to train all the way to London on my own. And go hang out with other martial art nerds and immerse myself. So, and then as I've, progressed on, now mixed martial arts is a lot to do with what he was talking about back then, even CrossFit, a lot of that stuff, the way he was training. So he was just so ahead of his time, and his philosophies and all these things. So yeah, just a little farm boy from England connected with a Cantonese man in Hong Kong.
Well, what's interesting is he is actually, I wouldn't have known this, but he spent a lot of his time in Seattle, which is where I am very close to now, just like 20 minutes away, and he's buried there.
Yep. Yeah, I've yet to go there, but I will do the pilgrimage one day.
Okay, well, give me a ring. I'll say hi.
I will. Brilliant.
And then did you mention a few days ago that there's an interesting timing regarding when he passed and when you were born?
Yeah, I mean, I would say tongue in cheek, but
It's
yeah,
so
I think he died in 74 and I was born in 75. So, it doesn't line up, I don't think, perfectly. The same way they say what Chuck Norris was born when Hitler was killed or something like that. But yeah, I think, within a few months I was conceived after he passed. So kind of, interesting when you look at it spiritually. Not that I think that I have the spirit of Bruce Lee in me, but almost the irony that he'd already passed away before I was born, and yet his spirit certainly lived in me as far as what he left to the world.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. I think it'll come up. We'll investigate it. And we can even jokingly, but also, hey, let's investigate, like, what is the soul connection? How deep does that go? Is it an acquaintance or something a bit more? It's fun to
absolutely.
Okay, and then did you just mention that you're one of 5 kids?
Yeah, so Anna and Tim, Anna's my oldest, Tim's the next one, younger than me. But then there's twins, Krista and Charlie, who are my 2 youngest.
Okay. I'm gonna write that down real quick. Thank you. And then is there anybody else that comes up that, and you can tell me in the session too. You don't have to tell me everything right now. During the session, you might say like, oh, this is my best friend, or it'll be easy.
I mean, honestly, my family and my closest, I've had my most amazing firefighter experience was in California when I worked in Anaheim. So a lot of my, closest friends are still out there. So I got one, Rich, we used to call him Dickie. I mean, some great people along the way that are scattered all over the world. But as far as geographically close to me that I see all the time, it's my family pretty much.
Okay, got it. And then when we were chatting a few days ago and I said, hey, what do you want to explore and address and find out more about for this session? You mentioned that, of course, you have this wonderful podcast and you've written this beautiful book, and that you also have your eyes on moving toward, I think I'm remembering correctly, a television program, but I would love for you to elaborate a bit more on that dream, because it would be amazing to help move that forward today.
Yeah, no, and there's a story burning in my soul, absolutely burning, that I think will certainly be a book. I mean, this is what I'm hoping that we'll be able to move the needle on today, is just going to open my mind up to getting into that creative mode again, because the last few months I've done a lot for a lot of other people, and it's been very important and very nurturing, but now I need to kind of close the doors and windows and focus on this. But this story really is about multi-generational trauma, and what you see with the ripple effect of not just one. It's interesting because we're obviously going to go way back probably in this, but you see, for example, homelessness, and someone will be, oh, they're a bum, and there's no conversation of not only what was their childhood like, but what was the parents' childhood like, and maybe the grandparents' childhood. And you've got this, we see about broken homes now. Well, there's a reason for that if you go far enough back. So I want to write this book, but it's about passing this message on. The same with One More Light. And I don't have a publisher or anything. I just did Amazon because that way I could get it out there and, get it to people. But the medium that the most people digest is screens, film and TV. So my pipe dream, and I always kind of tongue in cheek say, well, if Tiger King got made, then anything can get made. So, yeah, my pipe dream is to make this into a show, because it won't be all the answers laid out. It'll be a lot of questions, a lot of seeds to plant, and then you can walk away from a show. And there's some beautiful stories. The origin story is incredible, and then a lot of stories that I'll kind of make present day firefighter stories. So it will be a very gripping watch, but the takeaways I hope will get people to really look at the prejudices that have been ingrained in us for a long time, and get them to question them and go to the kind of root cause of a lot of the things that make people unhappy or even take their own lives. So that's why hopefully I can get it into a show.
Thank you. And while I'm writing this down, can you remind me of, you mentioned a story, please correct the details that I am misremembering, but I think you mentioned that there was a Okay, so we have, moving forward, the dream of the show, but then also the channeling, the opening up the creative juices of the second book.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. And then is there anything else? Remember, we can work on anything, even if it's the tiniest little thing, but it means a lot to you, or even if it's the biggest thing where you're like, I don't know, Courtney, this is kind of a big dream. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's, to me, this book, and then to kind of reverse engineer this leaning on alcohol, just, it's so hard to articulate, because I don't drink to forget, I don't drink to feel, I don't drink to do all these things that I hear people talk about on the show. When I'm conscious, I'm aware that I decompress less without alcohol, not with. So it's just this habitual, almost like laziness, like, oh, it's easier just to pour a drink. And again, when I drink, it's not lots of drinks either, but I'm acutely aware that I've lost the ability to be like, oh, I'll have a glass of wine, with dinner this one weekend day or whatever, but it will be through the week as well. And again, I can hit pause and I'm able to stop for a long time, but even so, I'm just curious, what is that thing? Because it's not, I don't have anything that outwardly troubles me at the moment. So there's obviously something in there that has attached to this that I can't quite figure out what it is, and just how to kind of nip it in the bud, just so I can be more present. Like, I don't need to be stone cold sober the rest of my life, but when I was younger, I would usually just have, a drink with a meal and be fine with that. And then maybe, when I was younger, go out for a couple of beers with friends on a weekend day. But with the shift work and everything, and then transitioning out, I don't know. I'm just curious what that is. I can, I have stopped it for lots and lots of times and had breaks, but it still kind of circles round. So I'm curious, because I think that would directly affect the book, because the less I drink, the clearer my head is the next day, even if I haven't drunk very much at all. That brain fog is definitely a real thing. Yeah,
the exact same thing used to happen to me. So I completely understand that. It doesn't take very much alcohol at all, especially, I feel like there are some of us, how sports cars need a special fuel. It can't just handle regular fuel. I feel like there are some of us where the universe is just like, oh no, just the special fuel for you guys, none of the garbage.
Yeah.
So the garbage really impacts us. So even if it's a little bit of alcohol, the brain fog the next day, and sometimes even a couple days later is real. Okay.
Yeah. And I think it was 14 years of shift work, combat sports, getting hit in the head, you know, and then you add in some alcohol too. Now you're just kind of compounding. So yeah, gut biome health and all these things come into it. But the one thing I can control is to just cut way back on the alcohol. So
yeah. It sounds like you're not yet totally aware of this, but I'm going to ask the question anyway, just in case you have some awareness. Do you have a sense for what itch you're trying to scratch whenever you decide to have a drink? Like what that emotion is right before you're like, oh, it would be nice to have this drink.
yeah, I think if I would label it, it was probably closest to anxiety. But again, it's not anxiety, but it's just that slight restlessness, I think. And you know, bearing in mind, I came back from fire stations after seeing and doing God knows what, and then spent the day being a father, and in the evening it was a very easy, you know, exhale, because it's all, you know, we talk about all the healthy things, the ice baths and all this stuff, but it's all well and good, but you know, when you've come off shift and then you've done whatever you have to do the next day, it's a lot harder to say you're going to go jump in an ice bath or do a 30-minute yoga session than just to go plink, you know. So I think that's what I'm saying. I think it's partly just almost like laziness as well. Like this is the easy button for unwinding, even though it's not the healthiest one, and it will be detrimental the next day. At that moment, it's like, I haven't got the time, I haven't got the energy. So I think that's probably the itch, I would think.
Yeah, temporary ease, but overall makes things harder.
Yeah. And again, not drinking to oblivion, not, you know, being cognizant of not having more than a couple because of my sleep. Yeah, so even being aware of everything. So same with caffeine, you know, I don't drink caffeine after like one. Try not to have more than a couple, whereas in the firehouse I was slamming coffee just to stay awake. So
yeah, he has notified me that it is ginger beer. So.
yes, we're not talking about reducing alcohol while I pound a Samuel Adams.
All right. And then I'm wondering, do you want to take a bathroom break or before we start the hypnosis, or you feel fine, ready to go? It's up to you.
I think I tried to go right before. I think I'm okay.
Okay.
But I can try, because it's going to be a little while, isn't it?
It'll probably be about an hour. It might be closer to 90 minutes. I also like to jokingly, but I'm also not joking, call it the potty portal, because there is something about when you have that couple of minutes by yourself where you're quiet, that so many times clients will come back from the bathroom and they're like, there's something else I should have brought up. So it's a nice bathroom break, but it also gives you the opportunity for that like 2 minutes of quiet where you're like, but wait, there's more.
Okay, I'm going to take my potty portal then.
Okay. All right, I'm going to pause the recording. I'll go to the bathroom as well. I'll see you in a minute. Take your time.
Thank you.
All right. Any potty portal magic, or it was quiet?
No, I think it was actually, yeah, it was good. I'm glad it just feels reset, so we're good to go.
Excellent. And then I like to always give a prep talk right before the hypnosis session. And then remind me, what is your familiarity with hypnosis? Like, have you had much experience with it, or meditation?
Meditation, yeah, I actually meditated today. I love Headspace. Absolutely love that app. So I do that quite often. Again, that tends to have a linear relationship with drinking. The more I meditate, the less I feel like I want to drink as well. So again, obviously there's no brainer there. But as far as hypnotism, I have zero experience. So this will be my cherry moment.
Thank you for letting me be your first. I appreciate it. What an honor. Well, then also your meditation experiences, what do they tend to be like? So when you're there and you're relaxed and your eyes are closed, do any visuals start to come in? Do any bodily sensations start to occur, or do any emotions start to kick up?
when I haven't done it for a bit, I'm very acutely aware of the kind of burning in the stomach, the anxiety. But when I hadn't done it for a long, long time, I started it when I was actually quite deep in the hole a couple of years ago, and I went to visit my family. Um, and again, not from any specific thing, it was just that critical mass of stressors. Um, and that took days to even get that burning to start when I was meditating. Now, after the second one, if I've missed a few days, it's very much, yeah, everything's pretty calm, pretty centered. Things that need to be done will bounce around my head. And I'll try and acknowledge those, not ignoring them, but then, let them pass. But yeah, but then it's kind of trying to enjoy that nothingness, trying to not force things to leave my head, but try and quieten that mind, because I'm a huge victim's the wrong word. I get that monkey mind on crack when it happens, and those thoughts are just going around. Even phones, I know when I'm not centered because I look at my damn phone all the time. So yeah, so the more I do that, the more I can sit there, because I start normally at 10 minutes, and then I'll get to the point where well, that's not enough, so then it'll be 15, which is a good thing, and it doesn't take long to kind of get back into that now, because I did do it consistently for quite a while. So once I can slide back in that groove, then there's not really visuals, but it definitely, my physicality, I can tell if something's tight, if something's burning a little bit, if there's tension in my shoulders. So that's kind of like the whole body scan thing is pretty cool.
Okay, interesting. You might have a talkative body, so we'll find out.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I do.
Okay, yeah.
The trauma, the body keeps the score, definitely.
Right. And the style of hypnosis that I do, I've got two different types. There's the Soul Empowering Hypnosis. And of course, that's the very spiritually oriented. So connecting to the past lives and the soul and the spirit guides and the spirit realm and all of those good things. And then there's also the Advanced Performance Hypnosis. And so for those who are more secular in nature and don't necessarily believe in all of those things, which is totally fine, that's a really nice way to very practically get grounded and take action on the positive things that we're meant to do, our purpose, our mission, etc. So I'm sure that you and I today are going to do a really nice blend of the practical magic, if you will.
There we
so
go.
Have a nice combination. And what's really interesting when it comes to meditation compared to hypnosis, they're actually really similar to each other. So I love working with people who are experienced meditators, because they go into hypnosis pretty easily, because you already have the muscle memory for letting things start to quiet down, connecting to the sensations of the body, etc. And the main difference, which I think is really nice, because we all have the monkey mind, we all have those things where we're like, but wait a second, I'm supposed to be relaxing. And so when it comes to hypnosis, if something starts to come in, instead of going like, but the mind is supposed to be empty and blank, instead, we start to get really curious about it, and we explore it and investigate it. So it becomes like the most interesting show, if you will. But that's a good segue into the pep talk, which is that sometimes sessions are very visual, and then other times they're not visual at all. So it sounds like you'll probably have a talkative body. So you might have a lot of bodily sensations that carry a lot of wisdom, hold a lot of wisdom with them. You might also have emotions that come up. So I like to really honor all of the senses, because a lot of people think that hypnosis sessions are going to be very visual, like you're watching a movie. So I like to say in advance that maybe, but not always. And so sometimes people think that they're doing hypnosis wrong, which like you can't do it wrong, but because they've heard these stories and they have these expectations, I like to mention that the visual might be part of it, but might not be part of it at all. And it can still be a very amazing session.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, I don't recall really having vivid visualizations ever. So I would say that it was probably maybe because my body is taking all the energy from my mind.
Yeah. Plenty of clients have very talkative bodies. And when they do, that tends to be, and we'll just see what happens, but that tends to be where the session starts, that the body's like, I have so much to share. I've never been able to have a conversation about it. So they take advantage of finally having the microphone and they're like, I do have things to say. And then that's a good segue also into the narration style is really interesting regarding different clients. So let me couple that with, I want you to self-advocate. So if there's anything that you need during the session, like don't keep it to yourself, let me know so I can be a good teammate. So let's say that a couple minutes into the induction, you're like, man, I really wish I had turned off the lights, or, you know, whatever it is, like, just let me know what you need. Or here's the other thing. Sometimes because there's so much releasing that happens in the sessions, like you might need to pee 20 minutes from now. And you're like, how is this even, it's possible. So whether it's the lights or the bathroom, or let's say that, I'm pretty good at this, really honoring a lot of quiet time so you can have time to connect. Let's say that I'm talking too much. And you're like, Courtney, give me a little space. So whatever it is that you need, self-advocate. And that also applies to your narration style. So some people like to narrate live what's happening in their session, where they're like, now walking into a dark forest and there's this person that's come out and offered me an apple. And, you know, like that narration will actually ground them deeper into the experience and makes it more vivid for them. But if you end up being like me, I'm actually, for as much as I like to talk, I'm not a very talkative client. I tend to really like to be quiet within the experience and let the experience come to a natural conclusion. So whether an answer is coming in or a releasing is happening or a memory is coming in, there is this action period of it, and then it comes to a natural pause. And then once that natural pause occurs, then I will catch my hypnotherapist up to speed and I'll narrate then. I'll say like, okay, this is everything that just happened. Okay, what's next, right? So just know that I'm really comfortable with the engaging back and forth. I'm also really comfortable with if there's a lot of silence and you just want to be with the experience, and then tell me about it once it feels like that pause is happening.
Okay, well, you mentioned the lights. This is an obnoxious light, so I'm going to turn that off.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Already trying to be a good teammate.
There you go. It's going to be a little dark on my end, but
that's okay. I actually close my eyes when I facilitate. Like I barely look at the client because I like to drop in at the same time. It helps me be a better teammate to have that more intuitive connection. So you can actually take it as dark as you want, whatever feels good for you.
Okay, now this is good. We've got natural sunlight coming in now. So
okay, awesome. Do you have any questions for me before we get started?
I don't think so.
All right. So you ready to get going?
Let's do it. Excuse
me. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close my eyes along with you.
Okay.
All right, so beginning to enjoy the feeling of having your eyes closed. And beginning to focus on your breathing, which should be deep and regular. From way down to way up. And as you're taking those nice, deep, relaxing breaths, go ahead and begin to really feel, really enjoy the peaceful energy that flows in with each in-breath. Beginning to really feel, really enjoy the nourishing oxygen that flows in with each in-breath. And with each exhaling breath, beginning to really feel, really enjoy the feeling of letting go, releasing, relaxing more and more with each out breath. And as you continue to take those nice, deep, relaxing breaths, go ahead and from your heart, invite in a really warm, loving, protecting energy, and inviting this loving energy of protection to begin to flow in from the top of your head. And this energy may have a color, may feel like a light, may feel warm as it begins to flow from the top of your head all the way down your entire body, all the way down to the tips of your toes, so that your entire body is filled, bathed with this warm, loving, protecting energy. So much so that you begin to glow and radiate a halo of protection all the way around your entire body as you get to enjoy feeling so calm, so peaceful, so safe, and so protected. And as you continue to enjoy a wonderful feeling, go ahead and from your heart, send out an invitation, a request to your soul, your guides, angels, all of your spirit friends, sending out a request from your heart, just letting them know these words. I am open and I am ready for the helpful information, the wonderful guidance, the beautiful shifts, the wonderful opening. I am open and I am ready. And taking your time, there is never any rush. You just let me know when that invitation feels complete.
Great.
Wonderful. And so whenever you're ready, we're going to do something that's really interesting, and you'll just let me know what happens. So go ahead and from your heart, invite in a really warm, loving, beautiful being with wings. It may be a bird or a butterfly, maybe an angel, a fairy, a dragon, or something different. But inviting in now a really warm, loving, beautiful being with wings, knowing that you may see them, hear them, sense them, or just know that they're there. You just let me know who shows up and how they show up whenever you're ready. Take your time.
The German Shepherd I just lost last year, Nini. She's got wings. I think she's trying to find a loophole in this whole thing.
They do that sometimes where they're like, well, I'll play by the rules, but tell her that she can keep her wings if she wants to, but she doesn't have to.
Okay.
And what is the name?
Nini.
How do you spell that?
Nini. Short for
Beautiful.
Nikita.
Hmm. And let's ask her, of all the friends that could come in today, she wanted to come in first. Let's ask her what she would like to share with you. It may be wisdom, it may be energy, but let's ask Nini, what would she like to share with you at this time? Let's just see what she does or says.
What do you want to share with me, Nines? I feel like she's just leaning into me, like one last hug.
Yeah. Yeah, I got the phrase a cuddle. So take your time. I'm going to sit quietly and really enjoy that hug. And you just let me know when it feels complete. Really enjoy. There is never any rush.
It's complete.
Wonderful. And let's ask her, is there anything else that she would like to share?
Is there anything else you want to share, Nines? Oh, she's gone now.
We know that she's with you, supporting you in the background. Maybe she'll come back again in the session. We'll find out. Is there anything more that you want to explore in this space, or is it time to go to the next space, the next experience? It's up to you.
Yeah, I think that one is kind of closed down.
Feels complete?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So the next thing we're going to do is really open-ended, and we'll just see what happens. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead and return your focus to your breathing. And as you're enjoying those nice, deep, relaxing breaths, go ahead and begin to feel as drops of energy slowly fall down into a pool of energy, a portal of energy. Each drop taking you with it deeper and deeper into this pool, into this portal of loving, helpful energy. And I'm going to count backwards from 10 down to 1. And with each number, feel as each drop takes you with it deeper and deeper into the portal, so that by the time we get to the number 1, you'll be through the portal on the outside and into a different place, a place that you're meant to be, a place that has been waiting for you. Opening the portal now. 10. Each drop taking you with it deeper and deeper. 9. Through that portal and into the place that you're meant to be. 8. Deeper and deeper to that place that has been waiting for you. 7. 6. Deeper and deeper and deeper. 5. Moving there so easily now. 4. 3. 2. Nearly there. 1. Outside of the portal and into that place that you're meant to be. Be there now. So taking your time, and when you're ready, just let me know what you're experiencing.
Feel like I'm underwater in the ocean.
What is it like there?
It's not very vivid, but it's not scary. I'm at peace.
Are you just below the surface? Or are you pretty deep down?
Pretty deep down. Yeah, it's all kind of dark blue all around me.
Yeah. And are you floating or swimming or something different?
Just floating, yeah, just suspended amongst it with kind of almost like a vague, transparent fish swimming around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
One fish or multiple?
I think it's the same one.
Okay.
Going around and around.
Well, what's interesting is just like we did with Nini, let's ask the fish, is there anything that it would like to share with you? Whether it's wisdom or energy, would you like to find out?
Yeah.
Yeah, take your time. Let's see what the fish does or says.
Is there anything you want to share with me? It's almost turning itself into a circle, but I'm not kind of feeling what that means.
How is the fish doing that?
It's kind of morphing almost into like a calamari ring, which is ironic.
Let's ask the fish, is he creating a new portal?
Are you creating a new portal?
And just feel the energy of the circle.
Yeah. I feel like I kind of moved through it, but to the same thing, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Nothing changed.
When you're through that portal, is he back to being a fish circling around you?
I feel like he's behind me now.
Okay. Feel the energy of him being behind you. And then I'm going to ask a question, and I might be onto something, but maybe not. We'll find out. Let's ask him, would he like for you to go somewhere with him, swim along with him? Let's just see what he does.
Do you want me to swim with you? To follow you? I feel like I am moving with him, and it's almost like a cartoon boy's face appearing on the fish-like object, but
How does it feel to be moving along with him?
there's no real emotion. I just am.
Okay. It's more like a physical sensation of movement.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, he's very, very close to me, and I feel like we're moving, but
Yeah.
I'm not picking up if there is, something deeper. I'm not getting it.
We'll find out. Did he always have that animated cartoony face, or is this a new development?
Yeah, it developed and then went away again.
Interesting. Is it okay if I ask him a few questions directly?
Absolutely.
All right. So, Fish, I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you can let James know the answers, and he'll let me know. So, Fish, what is your name? What do you like to go by? You can tell James, and he'll tell me.
The name that popped immediately in my head was Charlie.
Okay, thank you, Charlie. And Charlie, why are you here? You can tell James, and he'll tell me.
It's like that question shut it down.
What happened?
And it went away.
And what's there now?
I'm trying to make sense of it all. Just, again, still that kind of under the ocean feeling with colors of the fish, colors of Charlie in the background, but it's not forming anything. It just kind of stopped.
What colors are being presented?
It's like an orange and yellow. It's the color of the fish-like shapeshifter.
Would you like to feel the energy of those colors? They can be really interesting.
How do I do that?
So go ahead and just energetically, just like you were hugging Nini energetically, right?
Okay.
Energetically feel into the orange and the yellow. You may feel them as separate energies, or you may feel them as a combined energy. Would you like to find out?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just energetically allow that to move closer to you, or maybe you move closer to it. Just feel those colors and take your time. Let me know how they feel whenever you are ready.
So when I moved towards the ocean, turned to sky, and it was a bright light and almost, I guess, maybe what we would consider a soul going towards heaven.
Yeah. Do you want to go up with it?
Let's do it.
Yeah. So go ahead, go with it. You just let me know what it's like there. Take your time and enjoy the ride.
It felt initially like love, still like anxiety in my stomach, but that felt like it was pure white light, like it was goodness.
Yeah,
Then I kind of lost it after a little bit.
it's okay. It's definitely still here with you, but just in the background. Is that okay?
Yeah,
How's your stomach feeling?
it's good. It was actually the beginning of this, and I'm sure part of it is, almost a subconscious fear of what's going to be unlocked. And not in any negative way, but I think it's just a organic reaction to, as we said before, maybe some things that are held in the body
Yeah.
that are maybe anxious about being released even.
Well, we're going to take good care of you every step of the way. Do you want to explore it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's not, none of this is negative. It's just a physiological response.
Sure. And we'll take care of you, your body, your stomach, the emotions. We'll take good care of all of it. So let's find out. Let's talk to the stomach first. You ready?
Yes.
James, stomach, you have the microphone, you have the platform. What would you like to express? Whether it's physical sensations or emotions or words, what would you like to express? You can tell James and he'll tell me.
Yeah, the only thing I'm getting is when you say your stomach's in knots, it's almost like one of those cargo nets from a ship. So I guess it's trying to tell me there's lots of knots in there.
Okay. And stomach, is he understanding that metaphor correctly? That there are a lot of knots to sort through, or do you mean something different? You can let him know. We're listening.
Yeah, I think I'm not getting anything else. So
Okay. Stomach, is there a first knot that is meant to be addressed, or are there multiple knots that could be addressed simultaneously? Let us know what is the best way to begin addressing them.
yeah, when you said first knot, it just seemed to resonate. So I think, yeah, an original knot, I'm sure.
Sure. And stomach, is it a knot from the current life? Is it from a previous life? Is it from something totally different?
Yeah, I'm getting the feeling it's the current life. It's this life.
You ready to find out?
Yes.
Okay, stomach, go ahead and take him to the point of origin where this knot first began.
Getting the image of a man. Again, almost slightly cartoonish, how you'd think of like a watercolor
Mm-hmm.
in flat cap and the clothes you wear in the UK. I mean, it could be in this lifetime, it could be in one or two prior. It would be that kind of universal dress.
Yeah. What is the energy of the man like?
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not getting like fear or anything strong.
It's more neutral.
Yeah, No, like it's kind of like you warned about at the beginning. These aren't super vivid, so they'll come and they'll go again. They'll kind of pulse almost.
Yeah. Let's find out a bit more about him. We'll see what comes in. So let's find out, what is he doing?
Yeah, I've lost him now. He's gone.
Okay. Ready to do a really nice relaxation exercise, see how it feels?
Yeah.
So let's say that 1 is wide awake and alert, like you're ready to go to the gym. Like that's how wide awake and alert you are. And then 100 would be fast asleep, like the best sleep you've ever had. There's going to be a number along that spectrum, which is the best number for deep relaxation while still being present. Go ahead and let me know what number just pops in first. You don't have to think about it. The number will present itself.
25.
Awesome. And let's find out, where are you right now between 1 and 25? What number pops in?
I keep saying to myself, 25 meant 75, 25 from 100, 100 being deep sleep.
Oh,
So if I reframe that, say I'm about 50 at the moment.
okay. So knowing that you're at 50 now and 75 will feel really, really good. I'm going to sit quietly as you allow each exhale to take you from 50 to 51. Next exhale takes you to 52, and so on. And take your time and really enjoy each out breath. And you just let me know when you're feeling really good, when you're at 75. Take your time. You just let me know when you're there. Enjoy.
75.
How are you feeling?
More relaxed.
Mm-hmm. Any new colors coming in?
Actually, it's dark, but I feel like I'm moving forward. Now it's almost like you'd imagine space.
Yeah.
You know you're moving forward, but you're not feeling any friction or anything.
Yeah. Is it the rich blackness of outer space?
Yes.
Yeah. Really take that in. That's very, very peaceful. As you're taking that in, take your time. Go ahead and notice if there are any other colors or stars or any movement within that blackness.
Now it's red, like inside the body.
Inside of your body now.
Maybe it's all red, kind of like that movie Inner Space.
Mm-hmm. You ready to really feel the energy of the red? Take it in. See what it would like to share with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, take your time. Really, really absorb that energy. You just let me know how you're doing when you're ready. Take your time and enjoy.
Feels like that's the power without being polluted by emotions, if that makes sense. That's the true essence within the human, the physicality side. So you remove anxiety or depression or pain, even happiness. This is like the core, the true north.
Yeah. Can we ask a really fun question?
Absolutely.
So let's ask your soul, your spirit guides. Is this a universal color or is this something that's really specific to James?
Is this specific to me?
Is that what they answered?
No, I'm asking them.
Oh, okay.
They're being stubborn.
It happens.
Because it went back to that dark space for a second. So let me see if it goes back to the red.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting a sense that it's me.
Okay.
It's mine.
It's really interesting. They may have been answering, and they do this sometimes. They'll answer a question I'm about to ask before I ask it. So you want to find out if that's what they were doing?
Yeah, is this what is about to be asked? Is that what you're showing me? I'm getting a sense of yes. So
Yeah. So I was going to ask, what is your soul's favorite color and have you feel it?
Well, there we go. Yeah, it feels very much that. And I've always said my favorite color is red, but having no real reason why, because I don't wear red.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, it's the attachment to the, yeah, I guess that yearning to be a doctor as well, that fascination with medicine and the body is just connecting with that, the deep red of blood that flows through us, not in a morbid way,
Yeah, it's like life force.
positive way.
Yeah. I love also that the main colors that have come in so far are fire colors. Remember, Charlie showed you the orange and the yellow, and now we have the red.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, let's also ask your soul, and it may be the same color or it may be something different. Let's ask James Soul, what is your color in the spirit realm?
I don't know if it's because you just sowed that seed or this is organic, but it's looking like yellows and oranges and reds, just like you said. So not one, but the colors that make up a flame is what I'm seeing right now.
Would you like to feel it? That combination?
Yeah.
Yeah, so go ahead and let that color combination, that soul energy, invite it to flow into you and fill you up like a balloon. And you just let me know when that feels complete.
Yeah, it's complete.
How does that feel?
Yeah, it feels right.
Yeah. I love that you just cleared your throat a little bit. I was getting a strong throat tickle earlier, and I know what that means. Are you ready?
Yes.
So, if you want to, we can invite your soul's energy to flow into your vocal cords and actually borrow the vocal cords and speak directly through them. And think of it like co-piloting so that your soul can speak through your vocal cords, but you can also reborrow them and say anything that you want to say. So it's a really nice
Okay.
co-piloting. Do you want to do it?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. So James Soul, you have his permission. You can go ahead and send that really wonderful soul energy to his vocal cords and speak directly through them. And James Soul, when you're borrowing the vocal cords, just say hi and I'll know that you're there. Take your time.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good. And James Soul, what is your name? What do you like to go by in the spirit realm? I don't know what to call you.
I feel like he's trying to tell me, this is James, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me, um, I heard the word Fred, but then waiting for him to articulate it, and obviously the color red is in the word Fred, but
Brilliant.
it's kind of what
They
I
love wordplay. That's funny. Fred, do you want James to be the one who says the name, or do you want to say it as well? It's up to you. He's game.
Getting a sense of yes. It was weird. The first couple of words felt like it was from something else, but
Yeah, it's energetically really interesting. And see how you were able to reborrow the vocal cords really easily?
yeah,
Yeah, so you can have a really nice back and forth. So if you're open to it, we can invite Fred to borrow the vocal cords again. Do you want me to ask a fun question and he can answer? It's up to you.
absolutely.
Fred, I know that a lot of souls really enjoy puns and wordplay. Are you having fun with Red being in the soul name? You can just say yes or no or answer however you want.
Yes.
And Fred, have you enjoyed the colors of fire and fire for a long time, or is this a newer development?
A long time.
Why do you like it so much?
It's my energy.
Yeah. Do you incarnate on Earth a lot, or do you also incarnate in other places, other forms?
Anywhere.
What are some of your favorite places?
This is me, but I keep seeing images of dragons now, and you told me you warned me about dragons. But yeah, I see him soaring like a dragon.
Want to do it? Go ahead and fly whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I kind of lost him now. He's faded away.
What was the word before away?
He
Faded?
faded away. Yeah.
What are you experiencing now?
More calm.
Yeah.
There's definitely a connection of some sort.
Mm-hmm. How's your stomach feeling?
Still knotted, but a little less, definitely.
Can we circle back to that question and ask how the knots are going and if the first one has been addressed?
Yeah, I'm getting a sense that there has been progress there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing a kind of untying.
Sometimes we know very overtly about the progress that's been made, and sometimes that happens in the background while we're focusing on other things. So it feels like that's happening. Does that sound right?
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I guess it's a combination between things I'm seeing, but also these sensations in my body. So it's
Yeah.
hard to, you know, and analyze them too much. And yeah, just trying to submit.
Thinking has been known to happen You're not the first. I do it too. And what helps me is just being okay with the thinking and just knowing that it's fine. Is that
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you want to invite Fred back in? And then, well, I mean, Fred's always here, but more overtly back in? It's up to you.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's see what the dragon is like. What color, whether it's the skin or the eyes. Let's find out more about the dragon as well. And you
Okay.
just let me know what comes in. Take your time.
Yeah, it's not come back the same. Now it's almost more macabre figures.
Yeah. What are they like?
Faces maybe of people that, I don't know, have passed, and then like ghoulish figures and outlines that would almost be like a skull. So it's kind of, seeming like it's, if the initial Fred was that north, that this is like the other side. Maybe it is the emotions or the things that are trying to attack that groundedness that Fred showed me before.
Yeah. Do you remember earlier when we were talking about the stomach and the knots, and you made a very brief mention about finding out what might be revealed today?
Yes.
Is this part of the reveal, maybe?
Maybe because there's a little bit more burning in my stomach again. So
I'm game if you're game. You want to find out what it is? Okay. All right. So take your time and just be very open. And let's go into it. Let's find out, what are these figures, these faces? Why are they here? Knowing that there's a purpose to it. And we'll find out what it is soon. So just ask, why are they here? What is the purpose?
why are you here? I feel like they're trapped. Like
Okay.
they're trying to get free. They're stuck. Almost like they're all glued together. And ironically, even though it's not what I'm actually seeing, I get this sense that they're kind of all glued to my stomach. Like
Sure.
they're attached to it.
Are you familiar with like sort of like belly breathing, like really letting the abdomen get very loose and open and expansive?
Yeah, I try to belly breathe most of the time, but we'll see.
How's
It
it going
depends.
right now? Can you expand more?
Let me see. I'm sure I can.
So allow them a bit more space. And when you're ready, let's ask them, even though right now there's that cohesion, let's ask them, are they meant to leave and release one by one or as a complete unit? Let's just find out.
Are you meant to leave one by one? Or are you meant to leave as a group? It just gave me an insight to how many traumas there are, because the initial group kind of went off on their own, but then losing my dog, losing my grandfather, some of the calls, you realize that there's a lot in there, and no one thing is, worse than the other, but it's just kind of, I'd be here breathing all day trying to get rid of all the bad
Sure.
things. And when I
Yeah.
say bad, I mean, it's what we do as a job, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's just kind of connected me with, it's the right word, almost given your stomach permission to feel that way based on what you've been exposed to for 20 years,
Yeah.
and then the other 20 years, and then the 9 years before that.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes the harder experiences, there's like a really positive purpose that they happened. And so we can keep the positive lessons, the positive outcomes, energies, while also letting go of the things that are not beneficial or purposeful. Do you want to try that?
Yeah, absolutely, because I agree with that.
Yeah.
It's the shame and the guilt attached to certain things
Yeah.
that I don't need, but
Right.
all the other things attached to it are valuable, I think.
Yeah, there's so much progress that's made from those experiences. So we'll keep all of the learning, all of the benefits, all of the purpose. Before we let these things go, is it okay if we give them a voice, a platform, and just allow them to say whatever they need to say before we say goodbye?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So we'll just give them the platform. Let's just see what comes in.
I'm just getting this one message, and it sounds so cliche because it's the kind of thing that you would imagine someone would say exactly in this situation, but it's forgive yourself.
Okay.
That's what I hear over and over again. For
Well,
what I don't know. But
and maybe we'll find out the specifics, maybe not. Is it okay if it stays vague?
yes.
Okay. Let's ask these friends, do they want to be present for when you forgive yourself, or are they ready to go, to leave?
Yeah, I get a sense that they're not going to go until I do. So it's not as easy as just letting them go now. It's the
Yeah,
sense that I'm getting.
yeah, that
I
makes
guess it
sense.
means I got to figure out what they are before I can let them go.
Sometimes we need to figure it out, sometimes we don't. Shall we ask them? Are you meant to know
Yeah.
on a conscious level?
Am I meant to know on a conscious level? No, that's what I'm feeling.
Yeah,
So maybe I don't need to know exactly.
yeah. Is that okay with you?
It's great.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay, so Fred, is there any energy that will be helpful for James as he prepares for this forgiveness process?
I almost feel like he's saying it's already there. The
Good.
energy's already there.
You know, it's interesting, right? After I asked that question, somebody's fire alarm started to go off the smoke detector. Well, all right. Are you ready to go? So
Let's
knowing
do
that,
it.
yeah, knowing that that energy that you need, it's already present. I've got a couple of ideas that are coming in, but it's more important that you do what feels good to you. And so one idea that's coming in is dragon fire is really, really healing. It's very purifying, and it can help to, and it's actually enjoyable, even though it sounds like it might not be. It's very enjoyable. And your team can come in and breathe this healing dragon fire on you and really purify and let go of all that you've been holding on to, which can help with the forgiveness. It's up to you. You want to try it?
Yeah, it's funny because I've got a fire dragon tattooed on my left arm too. So
Of course. Well, that's really nice too, because that reminds me of that connection to the heart, right? You went with the left side.
yeah, no, for that reason too. Yeah, I've got a tiger over my heart, and that's my Chinese birth year. So
Aw. All right, well, whenever you're ready, go ahead and invite in your dragon or dragons. There may be more than one. And just let them know you are ready for self-forgiveness, and let that purifying fire wash all the way through you, and especially some TLC in the heart area. Take your time and enjoy. You just let me know when it feels complete.
I think it's complete.
Fred, can you let us know? Is it complete, or is there still more to go?
Yeah, there's no more fire, so.
Okay. How are you feeling?
Relaxed. Still got the burning in the stomach.
Well, is it time to let that group that was there as a cohesive unit, is it time to let them go? Let that feeling go?
I'd say so.
Okay. So when you're ready, go ahead and share any love, any gratitude that you might feel as you're saying goodbye, and let them reciprocate. Share their love, their appreciation as they say goodbye, and just let them go. Whenever you feel ready, they feel ready. Take your time.
They've all gone, and I felt like the last. We hugged, cuddled, which is interesting for these things that are supposed to have tormented you. But the very last one I felt was a very young version of myself.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, you know how it is. Sometimes there are tougher relationships that we have, but there's still a lot of love and bonding there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And when you, as you told me, with gratitude, you change the relationship with those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely a purpose. Do you want to hear something fun that I like to do and see how it feels for you?
Absolutely.
So knowing that all of those energies, they definitely were there for a purpose. How about if we find out like a happy, healthy replacement for whatever that purpose is? So here's an example. Sometimes we have things within us because we want to be protected, right? But the way it manifests doesn't feel good. So then we call in a happy, healthy version of protection as a replacement. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, so why don't we call in, if you want to, a really happy, really healthy version of whatever that positive purpose that they were there. Let's call in that replacement if you would like.
Okay,
How are you feeling?
good. Kind of, again, taking those experiences which have shaped this 49 years, the replacement is kind of what you were talking about, like having that, I forget what term you use, but calling on someone to help with your creativity. I felt like I've replaced those negative things or perceived negative things with the ability to actually tell their stories, which obviously ties into the book, and replace it with that, creative conduit that maybe I can channel some of the real people in some of these stories, and then, manifest the other people that'll be fictionalized. But obviously the stories of all the people that we just let go, the good part is you can tell their story or allow their story to guide your pen. So I think that's what the healthy and happy thing is. It's doing something positive with what seemed initially as negative.
Ready to hear a pretty amazing confirmation?
Yes.
While you were calling in the happy, healthy version of things, remember I told you about how I have a friend who helps me write and his name is Franco?
Yes, that was what I was referring to.
Yeah, exactly. Did I ever tell you that he looks like a friendly ogre?
I don't think you told me that, no.
Yeah. So while you were quietly experiencing that process, he came to me. I was like, ooh, this is what we do next with James. And it feels like the next step, and maybe even the concluding step, which is that we connect you really deeply to that ability to channel these friends. Do you want to focus on that next and really strengthen that, like open up that access to them?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, perfect. So, and the word that I used the other day was genius, that we think of genius now as being this thing that's within you and creates a lot of pressure that you have to perform. But genius originally meant something that was outside of you and would come to help you. So shall we invite in the genius or geniuses that would like to come in and be your teammates?
Yes.
Yeah, let's see who shows up.
Charlie is showing up. The
Yeah,
orange orb fish like thing.
I remember Charlie. Charlie, what are you? Are you a fish or are you something different?
No, he's not a fish.
Charlie, what are you? What would you like to be called?
I feel like he's okay with the name Charlie.
Okay. All
Way to
right.
go. Nailed it first time. Yeah,
All right. So,
because he
Charlie,
manifested into like a laughing child for a second. Like he was happy with that name.
yeah, it's really, I like that he's amorphous too, so he can take shape however he would like to. He's got
Yeah.
that flexibility. Cool. Charlie, whenever James is writing, How would you like for him to connect in with you and be a good receiving teammate during that process?
I think he's saying through meditation, when I am sitting there, calm my mind and allow him in. It's kind of what I felt just then.
Yeah. Charlie, opening through the mind exclusively or the mind and other parts as well?
Like he's in my heart now too.
Yeah, I feel like he even pushed me back a little bit. He was like, girl, and then like pushed me back in the chest heart space. So I think he likes that area too.
Mm-hmm.
Is he funny?
I think he's cheeky.
Yeah, yeah. And Charlie, what else would you like to share with James? I know you'll be connecting a lot more in the future, but is there anything more you'd like to share with him now?
Yeah, I feel like he's saying, let's do it. That's it. Let's begin. Let's
Yeah.
get it done.
When would you like for him to start writing?
Yeah, I mean, I know today is a wash. I think my thoughts are overriding it, but the window, I just saw almost like a little hole in the distance is tomorrow morning. So it used to
Perfect.
be my writing routine would be to wake up before everyone else and spend an hour or two writing. So I'm kind of picking up, process this today and then it all begins tomorrow again.
Yeah. It'll be really nice to have a quiet evening, continue processing while you're sleeping.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Charlie, at what time is best for him to wake up?
6 o'clock, boom, straight in my head.
Yep.
What he just said.
Charlie, is he meant to write for 1 hour or 2 hours or somewhere in between?
He's not answering, but I can feel in agreement with how it's been before, as you basically start with like when you stop for a while, you start for 30 minutes or an hour, and then the goal is to obviously build from there. So I feel like he's knowing I already have the answer to that, so he's letting me answer.
Yeah, he sassed me. When I asked that question, he was like, you can do better than that. Okay. Okay. Well, okay, Charlie, what would you like for James to know about the morning routine? Something that would be helpful for him.
I'm getting a sense of set yourself up for success the night before, meaning, clear that space. Don't have things that need to be done when you first wake up. So I think that's what I'm getting,
Yeah.
So, yeah, create that space.
Be committed to it. That when the
Yeah,
morning starts, the writing starts.
yeah, well, because there's so many things with the podcast and everything else that I do almost the moment my eyeballs open up. So
Yeah.
it's about, if things need to be done that day, have them done already so that you can be present, make some coffee, sit down and start writing. So
Shall we
yeah.
ask if this is a nice idea that you can multitask? You can meditate while you're making your coffee. Did they like that idea or?
Yeah, I already do that, so sure he does.
Oh.
I put the
Okay.
kettle on, I meditate, and then pour it in after.
Okay,
So yeah.
perfect. And then Charlie, is there anything more that would be helpful for him to know, whether it's about preparing for success or the actual connecting and creating process in the morning?
It's a weird stillness. I almost feel like it's like trust that it's in there. I suffer immensely from imposter syndrome, and I think that's what I'm picking up. It's just sitting right. Don't overthink it, just sitting right.
Yeah. If you place one or both of your hands on your heart right now, what's the energetic feeling when you do that?
Almost excitement,
Yeah.
which I think again is hopefully a breakthrough and excitement to get this story from my mind and onto paper.
I want your mind to know that it has additional teammates. You ready?
Yes.
James Mind, you are amazing and you're not in this alone. So you have the heart as a teammate, you have Charlie as a teammate, you have these other friends that will come in and help as teammates. So you don't need to feel the pressure of being the one that has to create and do everything on your own. And then what's also fun, this energy of having your hand or hands connected to your heart and feeling that excitement, is that the hands themselves are teammates. As they're writing, as they're letting all of that energy and wisdom and words flow through, the hands also are teammates. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, the mind always takes on so much. And it's like, you have teammates. You don't have to carry all of this yourself.
Yeah, this mind certainly does.
Yeah. James Mind, how are you feeling? Do you feel good?
So there's no answer. That was weird. I was just being patient for a response, but there wasn't one.
I could be wrong, but I'm gonna go ahead and ask, is this a case of no news is good news?
I
Because you
think
know,
so.
thinking,
I
yeah,
think
like
it's
there was thinking before and now it's calm.
yeah. I think it's offloaded some things, So I think it's hoping it's the beginning of again calming the monkey mind a little bit and all the
Yeah.
superfluous thoughts that bounce around the same ones over and over again. So yeah, and kind of I like that whole thing about having the helpers because it is the mind, it is our minds that just get swamped.
Yeah.
So
And here's a fun thing. If you ever feel like you have monkey mind again, monkeys are also good helpers. So just delegate some tasks and be like, if you're going to be busy, then could you please figure out some things in the background?
yeah, there's plenty of monkeys in this bloody head of mine, that's for sure.
You've got you've got a whole squad. All right, and let's find out, is there anything more that Charlie or Fred or Mimi or any of the other friends would like to share with you today?
Nini came back for another cuddle and she
Yeah.
didn't leave. So I think that's just a reminder that she's here.
Yeah. You two can visit with each other anytime. Would you like to do that in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I feel her around me. I do. My youngest dog will suddenly just start having a funny 5 minutes and doing the same exact thing that she did when Nini would chase her. So I kind of allow
That's
myself to think that
true.
she's still playing with her.
Yes, allow it for sure. Allow yourself to know.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. And then, James, is there anything else that you want to ask or experience or anything else before we begin to wrap up?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a lot. I was going to say to process, not to process. It's a lot just to let resonate and
Yeah,
see, what changes happen.
yeah, yeah. Allow those really nice shifts.
Yeah,
Good.
exactly.
All right, so we're going to begin to bring you back in just a moment. And before we do, and you're already familiar with this, just go ahead and send a lot of love, a lot of gratitude to all of the teammates that helped today and allowing them to reciprocate and to send their love, their appreciation to you as well. And take your time, really enjoy. You just let me know when that feels complete.
Okay.
Wonderful. And so in a moment, we're going to begin the process of bringing you back, knowing that when you come back, you'll be able to do all of your day-to-day activities just fine, just like normal. Driving, grocery shopping, dialing phone numbers, all of that will return just like normal. And you'll also come back in a way where this access, this connection, this opening, all of this beautiful energy can stay available to you at whatever percentage feels good. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Wonderful. So beginning the process of coming back now to this time, this place, the cozy chair underneath you, beginning to hear the sounds inside of the room, the sounds outside of the room, and returning your focus to your wonderful body and returning your focus to your breathing. And now, as you're focusing on your breathing, really feeling the energizing, enlivening, vivacious energy that flows in with each in breath, really feeling the enthusiasm that flows in with each in breath, and taking 2, 3, or 4 really energizing, really enthusiastic in breaths, and then opening your eyes, wide awake and alert, and all the way back now. I'm very excited for all that is to come.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. That was such a treat. How are you feeling?
Um, yeah, I mean, very relaxed. It was very interesting because obviously I've never done that before, and being in that state for long enough to actually start seeing some things, albeit not super vivid. Yeah, it was very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear your progress reports, how you're feeling, how things have shifted, what the writing is like, how the mornings are going.
Yes. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, that release, and then giving the mind permission to have help. I think those are two big things, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much the mind is like, I'll take care of all of it. And it's like, well, you could, but you don't have to.
Well, you can't. That's the point, is it gets
Yeah.
overwhelmed.
Yep. Yep.
So.
Exactly. All right. Well, you've got such a blissful look. I'm like, let's go ahead and let you hang up and just enjoy the energy, because I know we're going to see each other again in just a few days for the podcast. But before
Yes.
we hang up, do you have anything that you want to ask me, or anything more that you would like to share for the recording? Something that maybe you didn't narrate before that you're like, ooh, while we're talking about it, I'll bring it up.
Through your eyes, were there any aha moments based on what I told you had happened in the past? What were some of the things that I was hoping to improve on through, you listening to the answers to the questions and then the experiences I was having?
So as far as aha moments, oh, well, okay. I don't know if this is an aha moment or if it's more just helpful information. One thing that I've learned is, you know how you were saying, I'm not sure if I planted the seed as far as like the yellow and the orange and that your soul color came in. I was just thinking like, oh my gosh, they will never not correct me. Like if I ever get something wrong, like, and that's actually a huge relief, because I don't want to accidentally plant any seeds, but trust me, like they'll end up correcting if we ever go in the wrong direction. They'll be like, that's not it.
Right.
Yeah, so I want to make sure that I said that. And then for me, it was super, super fun when I was feeling that the writing and the genius and the teammates, turns out it's Charlie. I was feeling that that was the thing we were going to be addressing next. And then you brought it up. So that's always fun whenever I'm receiving something and then you go ahead and receive it and start talking about it before I have a chance to talk about it. So I enjoyed that a lot. Trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, okay. Something that I'm getting right now. Totally up to you. But they say that if you want to, that you have the tools and the skill set to address the redheaded one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, all right. That's interesting homework.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's not something that's bothered me for a long, long time, but I mean, maybe the thing beneath the redheaded one is the real issue.
Yeah.
Why did even, why was I focused on a book that was in our, massive, not library is the wrong word, but the collection that I think was from my mum's childhood, and it was the front cover. So why did that become something that haunted me? So there's obviously the thing beneath the thing, as they say.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting. Yeah. I think the timing of this works actually. They said that if you could address it now within the next 4 days, that would be good. And then we can chat about it. And I believe our interview is in 4 days.
Yeah, I think it's Tuesday, I think.
You don't remember?
Yeah, I think it was. So that would make it 4 days.
I let my brain have the teammate that is the phone calendar. But yeah, that would be really interesting. I wonder if what they're doing, probably. I think that sometimes people get nervous that they have to have somebody with them to address certain things. And I wonder if they're allowing you to be an example of that, like once you start having sessions, that you can actually start to address a lot of things on your own, because you've learned how to have the skill set, and you know how to do that dialogue back and forth and to bring in the positive things. I think that might be what they're doing. We'll find out.
See.
Wow. You asked for an aha moment, you got homework.
There we go. Well, thank you. No, that was really good though. So I'm, like I said, I'm not expecting everything to poof magically be changed, but I can see that a lot of seeds have been sown. So I'm interested to see where they all go now.
Yeah, it's really interesting. There are 3, I mean, there are probably more than 3, but there are 3 pretty consistent ways that this goes. There is the immediate shift. Like there's a fraction of it that's immediate. There's the fraction that is the like subtle long-term shift where let's say 10% today and then 12%. And then, so there's this subtle longer shift that happens. And then the other fraction is the shift that happens behind our backs where like, we don't even know. And that one might be the most powerful, because it happens so thoroughly that we forget that we even had the issue or the question, or that like, it's like it never even existed. So the behind our back shifting and healing is really fascinating. So that can happen as well.
Okay. Yeah. I'm interested. So we'll have to compare notes in 4 days then and see if I've had any breakthroughs. I'm not that I'm expecting anything, magnificent, but more just kind of reflecting.
I'm okay with all of it. Yeah, I'll stay open to all of it. All right. Anything else, or is it time to hang up and you can just enjoy the rest of your day?
Yeah, no, I mean, that was brilliant. So I'll sleep is a good place to process a lot of this stuff. So
you probably have some interesting dreams.
Yeah. And then the kind of what's the right word? The self-assessment on the porch tomorrow while the coffee's brewing would be interesting as well.
Maybe take some notes too, which is interesting as far as, you're opening up to writing. So the journaling about that process in the morning might be a way to document progress as well as open the gates of the writing process.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I would love to take credit. It's not negative.
We're doing it through you though, so thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, this was such a joy, and I'm definitely looking forward to hearing the progress. And all the fun that we'll get into in a few days.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. It's brilliant, and obviously thank you to Ken as well.
Yeah, good connector. Very good connector. Okay, all right. You have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you soon.
Yes, thank you. Same to you.
Right, thanks. Bye.
Bye.